We're going to be talking about the top 5 flowers that I love to grow in the summertime that make great bouquets for me personally. Number 1, lisianthus. I'm a year 2 flower farmer and I grow in zone 8A in North Carolina, and I plant my lisianthus out in February. The reason I plant mine out in February is because I am trying to get it to bloom as early as possible. I learned that if I plant it out in February, I will get blooms towards the beginning of June. That is dependent on the weather in the spring, meaning is it going to be a cold or warm spring. I only grow my lisianthus out in a field, so it's not going to be as tall. It won't be quite as tall as those that grow theirs in a tunnel. But I sell retail bouquets, and it is definitely tall enough for my retail bouquets. I did have a bit of a problem with the first kind that I'll show you. It was not quite as tall as I wanted it this year, but it definitely, the first succession, or the first flush I should say, definitely did well for my bouquets. I'm not sure about this second flush. The other reason that I planted out the 1st of February is if I get an early flush, then in like the beginning of June, and then I cut it back, typically I'll get a second flush in September or October, and I can use it in fall. And therefore it makes buying the plugs, which I buy mine in plugs because I've tried starting lisianthus from seed. I'm no good at it. I buy my plugs from Farmer Bailey, and that works perfect. And this year I planted my plugs in February and I did not pinch them. So I just wanted one tall stem, hoping that my second flush would be as tall as I could possibly get it. Look at those clouds in the background. Woo! I did hear thunder. We'll see if I get this little video done before the thunder rolls in, or storm. So I'm about to show you the row. It is the beginning of August. I have used all of my lisianthus. I started cutting the beginning of June, and my Roseanne Brown, which is a 3, so there's 1, 2, and 3. I'm not sure if there's 4 lisianthus, and the numbers mean which blooms first and all of that. Really, it kind of blooms all at the same time, but I did find that my Roseanne Brown did bloom last, and that I was able to keep some in the cooler, and I was able to put some stems in my July, in my July bouquets. So it did last me all the way to July. And then I'll show you what I've got here in the fields. This is the first variety. I can't remember. It's a Rouge, and I want to say it's Chateau, but I'll have to put that up because I forgot. And do you see how short this is? So this was my shortest variety. The first flush, definitely long enough for retail bouquets, but I'm not really sure about this second flush. So I'll have to see if the florist will be able to use any of the shorter. This is Roseanne Brown. It is now just starting to shoot up some stems. This was actually my tallest variety. So hopefully this will be tall enough for bouquets, and I think the color will be perfect for fall. This was my white, and this was pretty tall as well. So hopefully this will also give me tall enough stems for my market bouquets. We've officially named the flower shed. This is a painting by my sister-in-law. And so now we're going to call it Gully's Flower Shed. Also, check this out. It is 2:11 on Saturday, and I only have 2 bouquets left. So I have to keep you updated as to whether or not I actually we'll have a sellout day. We'll see. One never knows. So sunflowers are number 2 because they're easy to grow. At first, I've had sunflowers starting from Mother's Day. I planted my first succession in our hoop house and was able to get sunflowers for Mother's Day. And then after that, I was planting sunflowers in plug trays and starting them on heat mats and then planting them out. That worked really well too. As soon as it heated up, meaning the weather outside, I started just directly seeding them in the ground and have done that ever since. And that's worked really well. Couple things with that. You have to remember to plant them weekly so that you'll have sunflowers weekly. After this succession, I'll show you our next succession, we fell down on the weekly sunflower successions. And I can really tell it hurts in the retail bouquets. Can tell that because it's been like 2 weeks now, so we messed up on this one too, where we didn't plant between our last succession. So we've had 2 weeks without sunflowers. It's hurt, I can tell in the bouquets. I really miss them. And then after this succession, it's going to be several weeks. I'll show you where my next succession is on the sunflowers. So keep up with your planting weekly. We net because of our afternoon thunderstorms. And then also what just happened here with this last succession, as the summer goes on, we have pretty high bug pressure, and the slugs like to come along and eat the tops. And since sunflowers are one and done, after the top gets eaten off, it's not going to help. You might as well just pull that it's about this big little stick out and be done with it. So Sluggo is your best friend there. That helps. Once you plant the sunflowers, and as soon as they start coming up, sprinkle that Sluggo. If you have a really hard rain, really hard thunderstorm, go out and check. If you don't see the pellets anymore, put some more Sluggo down until they're big enough. And then once they're big enough, then you don't have to worry about them as much. Everyone loves a sunflower. They're easy to plant, easy to grow. I tend not to have too many problems with them. I tend to grow Vincent's Choice or Horizon. I love Vincent's Choice. It has 2 rows of petals, so if you have a little bit of petal damage, you tend to be able to pick off one petal. Horizon is great because the head of the sunflower stands up very nicely. Well, I just planted these this week, and as you can tell, none have come up yet, and I don't see any of my Sluggo, so I need to come put some more Sluggo down. We have had some evening thunderstorms. This is the week before, so after that big tall patch, here is the next round of sunflowers. And as you can tell, see the spotty germination? All these other spots, they actually had sunflowers in them, but the slugs ate them because I wasn't fast enough in getting my Sluggo down. So what I did when I planted these other ones is I came along and I put some more sunflower seeds. Look, that one's dead. I don't really know why, but came along and put some more sunflower seeds in, especially up here because there's really nothing. So this succession will be a while in coming. Huh? Gonna get donkey hugs. Donkeys give us hugs. Oh, Aaron. Aaron scared us. My number 3 flower for summer is zinnias. Lots of zinnias. The reason it doesn't make number 1, I gotta put these on again. The reason it doesn't make number 1 is because I always worry about zinnia meltdown. You kind of never know exactly which zinnia is going to decide it doesn't want to be alive and just turns black in 2 days in the vase, and that always worries me in my retail bouquets because I always market them as they're going to last, for a good 7 to 10 days, hopefully more. I don't like to say more because you never know about certain flowers, and typically everyone tells me they last for 2 weeks. But just as soon as I start marketing them for 2 weeks, then something will happen, one flower or something, and then somebody will complain about that. But I feel like if I say 7 to 10 days and then they last a lot longer, everyone's much happier because they get a longer vase life. So I love zinnias. They come in all the colors, bright colors, muted colors, all the things. They're easy to grow. I figured out how to start mine from seeds. Mine start better in plug trays, and I do start them inside. I put them in the plug tray. I leave them on the heat mat, have them under lights. Then I move them outside, harden them off, plant them out. Zinnias in the south are going to get some fungal diseases, and they're going to get powdery mildew no matter what. So I definitely this year I kept starting zinnias, and then I should have shown them up in the upper garden, but in the upper garden I have another succession of zinnias that are babies. They haven't even started flowering yet, so that is my last succession of zinnias. And then when these are really spent and full of disease, I'll just pull these and start on those. So I do several successions of zinnias. Again, they're easy, they produce a lot of flowers, they're cut and come again, they have all the colors that you need, and especially the Benares Giant, they really put a pop in the bouquet. And everybody around here loves zinnias. They remember their grandmother grew zinnias and have a nostalgic value to them. So I'll always grow them, but they do give me a little bit of concern. So that's why they're number 3. Lemon basil and cinnamon basil are my number 4 flower. Here's the cinnamon basil. We planted this patch right here at the beginning of the season, and we have been cutting super hard off of this patch, and look at it. I mean, we still have a ton to cut off of it, and I put sometimes 3 or 4 stems in the bouquets. So I've been cutting really hard off of it, and it is still going strong. Cinnamon basil, I love the purple and the purple stems in the cinnamon basil, but I love these for spikes in the bouquets from the lemon basil. Customer just bought the second to the last bouquet. Do you think we're gonna have a sellout? We'll see. Okay, so basil behind me is number 4. The reason it's number 4 is good things about basil. It makes the bouquet smell delightful really well. So every time someone picks up a bouquet, they always smell it because they want the flowers to smell good, because flowers should smell good, but zinnias don't really smell. Lisianthus doesn't smell. Sunflowers really don't smell. So there's not a lot of really good fragrance to the bouquet, but when you put basil in, especially lemon basil, it smells really good. And as soon as they smell it, they're like, oh man, what's that smell? Love it. They talk a lot about it, and then they'll ask questions about that, and they really enjoy it. So that's what I love about basil, is the smell. And it actually, it's a good filler. The greenery looks really pretty in there. And then I do love the little flower spikes. Like if you let it go to flower, those flower spikes look really pretty in the bouquet. And then cinnamon basil, I love the purple flower spikes and the purple stems. Those look really pretty. negative about basil. It tends to wilt. It can be wilty. If you strip a lot of the leaves, because you don't need a lot for the scent, that helps. You can also use the quick dip. That helps a lot. And then try to harvest when the day is cooler, early in the morning, late at night. And then also let it hydrate overnight. That is super helpful, because if you've cut something and it's wilty and it hasn't hydrated overnight, just toss it, because you're not going to get it to hydrate. So that helps too. The bugs haven't really attacked it. I mean, we've had some bug damage, but not a lot. The beetles, Japanese beetles, didn't really eat it too much. Some bugs, just not a ton. Not a ton of bug pressure. Haven't had to do too much with it. We did net this basil. If we hadn't netted it, it would have fallen over. So we do net it, plant it, net it, pretty much. Leave it to its own, and it's good. It is helpful if you let it get a little bit woody and then cut it. It doesn't wilt as easily. And then if you have a Bob, if Bob cuts it for you, then you're perfect, because whenever he cuts basil around here, it doesn't wilt. I can cut, same exact place, all the things, same exact time. Mine wilts, his doesn't. Go figure. I have no idea. So I've given up. I'm like, please go cut the basil, because apparently you cut it, doesn't wilt. I cut it, wilts. I don't know. I give up. And then Gomphrena is number 5. This patch right here was really tall. It fell over, and then we cut it all back, and it is coming back like a champ. So it is a cut and come again as well. The reason Gomphrena is number 5 is it is very difficult to harvest. Now, it would have been much easier had we netted it. We did not net it, and I thought we weren't supposed to net it, so we didn't. And then it got super tall, nice long tall stems, and we were cutting it and all was going well until a thunderstorm, and it all fell over. That was a big giant mess. We cut all that down, and I cut and saved as much as I possibly could to dry, and it dries fabulously. It keeps its color, dries really well, so hopefully we'll be able to sell some of that. But the reason it is on the list is because florists love it. They want to purchase it. And whenever I have it in bouquets, a lot of our retail customers talk about it, and they say it's their favorite. Who knew? That little tiny ball. So this is going to stay on the list. And I actually do love it too. Like when I look at it, I really love Gomphrena as well. It's just a pain in the neck to harvest. You cut it and you strip it and you just get this one little tiny ball. But anyway, it's staying on the list because here's the thing. It is super easy to grow. Like I started it, it was easy to start, planted it, and really have done nothing with it. It would have just kept on growing and kept on being productive had we netted it. So that was on me. That's our fault. My fault, because I said don't net it. And then when we cut it all back, it's been super productive since then. So it's a very easy plant. It just needs netting. Note to self, net it next year and it will be better. Since we've cut it all back, I have still taken cuts off of this. I've sold some to florists, and I've used some in bouquets. Not a lot because I don't have a lot. But I think this is still going to be super productive, and I will be able to use it in the fall. Like from now until fall.
All right, it is 4 o'clock on Saturday, and we have one bouquet left. Just
one bouquet left.
And for some reason, nobody ever wants to buy the last one because they think something's wrong with it. But look at this bouquet.
That is a beautiful bouquet.
So we want to sell out. We want to say we sold out. So we need someone to come buy this one lonely bouquet. If you're ever in elementary school, what are you doing?
I'm zooming in on it.
And, you know, you're like the last one picked. Remember how that felt? But in this case, we saved the best for last.
Look at that pretty flower. Look.
So, I don't care if it's storming, lightning, and all that right now. If you come by this last bouquet, we're going to throw in this lovely bag
Right? Look at that.
Look at that bag. For
Free.
free. So, but you have to come and get the bouquet today. If you really want it, we will save it for you so like people aren't coming out here and it's already gone. Because I'm sure there's going to be a line here after this.
A line down the road.
But come buy this last bouquet, please. Don't let this go to waste. Look how lonely it is. It wants a beautiful vase and home to go in. And you can be that person.
Come on. You
Plus
can do it.
Bag.
You can do
Look
it.
at this bag.
Yeah, beautiful bag.
Okay, so 4 o'clock. We'll stay open as long as we have to, but you do have to come get it today. Preferably not like 9 o'clock at night.
Yeah, that would be helpful.
So if you want to message us, the first one to message us and say they want it and can come get it today, we will save it for you. Otherwise, come on by and grab it.